Have you ever wondered what it would be like to learn from a wise monk and improve your life? Today, we have the opportunity to do just that with Gaur Gopal, a modern-day monk who has discovered the key to mastering the mind. We will discover his secrets to removing negativity and achieving your goals with confidence. Are you ready to transform your life with the wisdom of a monk? Let's get started. Number 1. Don't give in. Gopal likens life to a kind of a sports game, but that you're playing against your own mind here, and if you play well against the tricks it plays on you, you're set. He talks about sometimes our mind keeps us away from doing what's good for us, and it's precisely that which we need to fight against and not give in. Think of how we get distracted so easily. Whether it's social media or any other distraction, we must learn to say no. According to him, not giving in also means having the courage to push through tough times and having a positive outlook even when things look bad. Every time you feel like giving in, keep your goal in mind. Focus on how you can get there, instead of dwelling on the setbacks and failures. But here's the other thing. It also means having a strong mindset and a willingness to learn from past mistakes. If we reflect on these experiences, we can use them to make better choices going forward. Number 2. Figure out your response. Gaur Gopal talks about how we respond to bad experiences and people in our lives. Do you lose your cool? Are you able to deal with things rationally? Because here's the problem. We can't control what someone else says or does, but we can control our response to that, and that is crucial. Because if you lose control, it only turns around on you. Heck, most situations aren't in our control. We simply can't give in to those who may be jealous of us or conspiring against us, because that only adds to the negativity, and we want to achieve the opposite. Between the stimulus and our reaction is room for choice. That choice is what defines us. Number 3. Let go of the life of I. Now, most of us are familiar with the life of Pi, and while there is some wisdom there too, Das wants us to check ourselves for the life of I. I is the most selfish word, he says. What this refers to is our expectations for ourselves. How we want to be loved, how we want to be treated, how we want to do things. What this does is that it sets us up for a life of high expectations. And there's only one place to go from there, and that's disappointment. Remember that John F. Kennedy quote, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country"? It's like that. We have to stop constantly focusing on our desires, but we have to be realistic in our desires and expectations. Number 4. Grow throughout life. Now, he uses an interesting analogy here. He talks about how the mother giraffe kicks the baby giraffe as soon as it's born, and she follows it up with a couple more. All this happens while the baby is still trying to figure out what is happening. The point is to teach the baby how to get up. That is the number 1 survival skill it will need. And that's exactly the approach we need to take. Don't just go through life. Instead, grow through life. And let self-awareness and introspection be your guides. This also allows us to identify areas for our personal growth and improvement, and take responsibility for our life choices, allowing ourselves to make choices that align with our own values and goals. Now, this is also linked to the value of learning from our experiences. Das encourages us to view setbacks and challenges as opportunities for growth, and use them to gain wisdom, strength, and resilience. Number 5. Focus on the good in life. So far, we've mostly focused on removing negativity from our minds and lives, but Gopal Das also asks us to try another approach. Just focus on what's going right in your life. Focusing on the good can attract more positivity into our lives. This comes from an attitude of gratitude. Think of the blessings and abundance in your life instead of dwelling on all the negative experiences. Gratitude can shift our perspective and open our hearts to all the good that surrounds us. Cultivating a positive mindset also means avoiding negative self-talk and criticism. Be kind and compassionate towards yourself, and focus on the strengths and accomplishments instead of always dwelling on the shortcomings and failures. As they say, always look on the bright side of life. And if Gopal Das is anything to go by, it will get even brighter. This can also help us face our fears. Keep watching because we'll get to that in a minute. Number 6. Live a balanced life. True success and happiness come not just from achieving external goals, but also from finding balance and harmony in all aspects of our lives. According to Gaur Gopal, a balanced life involves caring for 4 important areas: physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual. He believes neglecting these areas can lead to imbalance and unhappiness. In terms of physical well-being, he emphasizes the importance of caring for one's body. So add regular exercise, healthy eating, and sufficient rest and sleep to your to-do list. Emotional balance involves healthily managing one's emotions, as well as cultivating positive relationships with others and practicing self-care and self-compassion. Intellectual balance involves continuing to learn and grow, challenging oneself intellectually, and pursuing meaningful goals and aspirations. Finally, spiritual balance involves connecting with something greater than oneself through religious or spiritual practices. This could be meditation or simply connecting with nature. Living a balanced life requires conscious effort and attention, which is ultimately the key to true happiness and fulfillment. By caring for all aspects of oneself, we can achieve inner peace, purpose, and harmony with the world around us. Number 7. Stand up to your fears. He uses his only example to explain this. Now, this man has close to 5 million subscribers on YouTube, So obviously the camera is a big part of his daily life, but he speaks about how initially he was nervous about speaking to a camera. Gopal Das was comfortable speaking to crowds of thousands, but there was something about the camera that made him nervous. That was his fear. Then he started seeing from this angle that his work was his purpose. This was a kind of service he owed humanity, and he just had to stand up to his fear of cameras. In reality, fear holds us from reaching our full potential. It prevents us from fully realizing all that we were meant to be. Now, fear takes on many forms. It could be the fear of failure, rejection, the unknown, or change. Fear is a very natural emotion, but it's important not to let it control us. We need to learn to confront our fears head on, and we can do this by taking small steps. We face our fears one at a time as we move toward our goals. This is also linked to having a positive mindset. When we have that kind of mindset, it also protects us. One of the ways to do this is to surround yourself with people who encourage and motivate us. Fear can also be a learning experience. Identifying your fears can also help you find ways to overcome them. Acknowledge your fears. Stand up to them. 8. Don't worry, because that won't change a thing. I actually think this is my favorite piece of advice from Gopal Das. Now, this doesn't mean that you don't care. It's about keeping a clear mind when taking on a challenge and not focusing too much on the problem. Focus on the solution instead. Worrying won't change a thing, and that's a fact. Sometimes there will be situations in life that you can't do anything about, and that's when you must let go and accept that that's just how it is. This is just a glimpse into the mind of one monk. There's a whole universe of wisdom yet to explore. Ever wondered how individuals like Jay Shetty and Tony Robbins have programmed their minds for success?